So I think you all know about the French Tech. French Tech, La French Tech is started in 2013 as our French government initiative. And it's also a community like us. We are in Korea, the French Tech community Seoul is led by a group of entrepreneurs and people working in startup ecosystem here in Korea. And we are bridging French and Korean ecosystem, and mainly as one of the member of Team French, we are trying to help each other to create more opportunities for us. And we start in Korea. Let's go to next slide. The French Tech is started in France in the year 2013, and in Korea we start in 2016 with the name of French Tech Hub. And I'm in the board since last year, where we slightly changed some of our direction. I can maybe tell that French Tech Center give more power and also responsibility to entrepreneur startups. And so it was beginning of last year, we had some changes in the direction. And next slide. So these are current main member who are organizing our community activities. We are 10 board member, and with Isabel, who is community coordinator and who is taking care of a lot of activities to make this activity very active. From seminar startup. I'm from Alliance that I co-founded 16 years ago. There are some people like Solomon from investor position. There are guys like Guillaume and Sabrina from big companies, Hyundai and Line. And also Changyeo Korean and Danny from Orange. So I want to show you we are not all together here today, but our community is led by very diverse people, and you can contact us, and you know that we are organizing different type of events this day that I will share more later. So let's go to next slide. So basically, because you know quite well, because you are attending today's physical event, our mission is bridging French and Korean ecosystem. And there are other organizations like French Chamber and Business France. Sylvain is here today. But I want to say that the big difference of French Tech community, we are really community, and we are helping each other mainly, creating ourselves, our own different opportunities. And all board member and community member are here to find our opportunities, but also by helping others. And these two keywords, hypergrowth and tech for good, are some of the main concepts that we have since the beginning of last year when we got some changes of direction. These are main direction that French Tech stands for, and also French Tech Seoul. Yeah. So activities, I want to talk a little more about our activity that you might know already. So these are three categories. So French Tech Seoul is participating some activity to make a better market access. So we are building market access guides with help of Business France and other organizations together. And we are continuously meeting French startups when they come to Korea. So those board members, depending on the specialty and industry, we are meeting French startups. And we are also linking Korean startup and Korean actors of ecosystem for French startups or people from ecosystem. And yeah, quickly, networking. So we are organizing this kind of different type of networking opportunity. And community, we, since beginning of this year, we are trying to organize ourselves a little more efficiently by building a membership database. Because last year we were very, very open, and we start to reach many people. And this year, one of the goals of Community Seoul is really building a member directory. Quickly, what we did so far, and it come from last year. And I want to start by our last year, the biggest event, which was Tech for Good Summit event. So last year board, slightly different, some people same, some people different. We wanted to organize a big event last year with meaningful something. And we chose this concept, this theme, Tech for Good, to link really well French and Korean side of people working on Tech for Good things. So we gather physically over 250 people in TDP. We had a lot of partners, including FKCCI and also Korean government side people. There were a lot of people who came from France. It was not, it was before COVID. And we had a lot of exposure. And I'm very proud about this event because we create a lot of opportunities for community members, some real project. So it was a great event. And next page, Isabel. I was mentioning about membership directory. So from the beginning of this year, we tried to precise who are really our member. Because we have channels, communication channel, we have a lot of followers, over now 1,000. But because of this information, personal information, we didn't really keep the member directory, member database, but we felt like we need more concrete information about our members. So now we are officially, we have a membership guideline and we have over 200 individuals as our member and over 40 companies, and about half are French, considered as a French company. And we have also a lot of members who are organizations from Korean government and big companies. And so it's about innovation ecosystem, not only startups, linking Korea and France. Next slide. So yeah, today is the 9th French Tech Seoul Connect event since last year actually. Yeah, we had some empty periods because of COVID issue, but during that time we organized a lot of webinar with help of our partners. And recently we create also a new format of event, coffee break, and already we had 6 events, and I guess some of you participate. And also since a couple of months, we start to communicate more actively with our members, so member only, on 2 channels, Kakao channel and Slack. So if you didn't know yet, please ask more information about this, and you can reach us, many members, yeah, online. And there are these 4 are our main communication channels. It's not only for members, so we share all the activities and information to promote each other's business and events. Next slide. Yeah. we are very active, and now we are bigger board compared to last year. We are 11 with Isabel. So we are trying to participate in all the major events and opportunity chance to represent French tech community's voice. And yeah, what we are going to do with you. So a couple of projects. The first one is, Isabel, please, the website. We have our websites, but for some technical reason, also need to Paris French Tech Center. We are renewing our website, and very soon we will launch our new website. And our Vice President Alain and Isabel, they are working a lot for this project. And next one is, yeah, this is the biggest news that I wanted to announce today to you. So our board approved recently, a couple of weeks ago, that we are going to have a second edition of Tech for Good Summit beginning of next year. So it will be end of March or very beginning of April. And we want to first announce that after a lot of discussion because of the COVID, and also because last year we spent a lot of energy to organize this event physically. But we believe that more than any time now, we need such events to talk and discuss about tech forward ideas and opportunities and alliance. So we decided to have this event second edition, especially with the same main partner who is FKCCI. We will organize this event. And for sure, main part will be online, and we are going to use some technology, some tools, and we are applying to community fund of French Tech. So yeah, that's the first figure, and we will share more information through our communication channel because we need your participation, a lot of help from you. Yeah, that's all for me. And again, very nice to meet you. And let's meet our French startups. So who the first speaker?
Bonsoir. I have no slides, so don't expect anything on the screen. Yeah, I will tell you about my company and the technology, but also give some kind of testimony. So first, thanks very much for this initiative from the French Tech. Thanks for the FKCCI for hosting it. I'm actually quite familiar with this place, although I arrived only a few days ago, but I have the chance to have access to the business center, and I think it's very nice. I've been visiting quite a few of those around the world, and this one is working very well. So yeah, my name is Tristan Rousselle. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years already, so it's not my first company. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my first company, which was a biotech company, which I created in the year 2000. Named PX Therapeutics, and the second company named Aryballe, which is a biosensor company working on a very original subject, which I co-founded in 2014, so 6 years ago. So I guess today will be a kind of testimony. I'm sure many people have a lot to say, but I'm given the mic, so I'll take it for a few minutes. 10 minutes is long for an elevator pitch, so I'll try to diverse a little bit and tell you about my experience. So yes, I'm a scientist by training, biologist. So and I got the chance to create a first company in France at a time, beginning of the year 2000, when it was becoming easier and possible for academic kind of scientists to actually create a company. And I've been benefiting a lot from all the French support throughout those years when it was actually starting, because before the previous generation was much more difficult and much more complex. But from the year 2000 in France, there's been a lot of initiative. And I'm saying that because I guess that it takes time for a French tech community to build up. And I would say that what we have seen since 2013 with the creation of the French tech is also the follow-up of the previous initiative. So of course, every new governments will eventually have a new plan, but again, I guess before the year 2000, contrary to the US or to England, it was not that easy to create a high-tech company. So I've been lucky into this respect. So my first company as a young entrepreneur, I was just 30 at the time, was done a spin-off from academic lab, quite classic to this extent, but not so much by developing a technology that came from the lab. It was more valorization of know-how. So we had specific know-how applied to biotech. We were developing recombinant proteins, so it's a very specific activity, which is actually the main activity of the biotech field, but doing it a way which showed up to be interesting to be presented not only to develop new products, but new services. And I'm saying that because sometimes it's interesting to think about the right business model adapted to the right team. Okay, it's not always easy when you start to become an entrepreneur to raise 10 million euro, to create a startup. But if you're an entrepreneur, you will always find a way. And showing that you have expertise and that you can get money out of it, which is associated to selling services, can be a good way. So just a first tip, if I may. So this has been going on quite well. So we developed this company first working for scientists for fundamental research, and then quite soon we adapted to the needs which we were pushed by our customers to go further in the development of product, and so to offer services for clinical trials, which implied to make quite big investment to become compatible with the development of product for pharmaceutical use. So at the time we were working a lot for the biotech industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and of course the vaccine industry. So what's happening now in the vaccine development, I'm quite familiar with. I've had the chance to work on quite a few vaccine projects based on new technologies. So we had a team of, by the year 2010, we had a team of 50. The company was profitable, was also developing new technologies. And so we had developed a platform that was becoming interesting for larger companies, namely pharmaceutical companies who wanted to access to this new technology platform, this new know-how that could biotech be represent for them. So we actually sold the company to a pharmaceutical laboratory based in France called Laboratoire Aryballe in 2012. So as an entrepreneur, of course, we had a team, we had some requests to stay, to continue to develop this activity. But as you can imagine, when you're an entrepreneur, it's not always easy to actually feel well or be trusted by the plan developed by the new shareholders. We were very independent before, and then the plan changed actually, not to get too much into details, but just to say that after a few months only, and I was attracted by eventually new venture. So I was still based on the CEA Grenoble campus, which is a very interesting place if you want to, as an independent, right? I've never been a CEA employee myself, but as an independent, it's quite interesting a way if you want to do innovation, if you want to do rupture innovation, if you want to do innovation at the combination of different science. And there are a few campuses like this in the world. I'm trying to see if the equivalent is, if there is an equivalent here in Korea. I guess there is, but I haven't seen it yet. But I've seen this at the MIT, I've seen this in other nice campus in Germany. And so, as a biologist, attracted by the new world of sensor, I found a project which was a new way to use biosensor. So I didn't say that yet. It will come. Biosensor are mainly used to do medical diagnostic. Biosensor are also used to do food tests, right? Food testing. But this technology was presented to me initially, or this idea, which is not very original, you will see, but not very well known. It was presented to me by scientists at the MIT who were using biosensor to analyze odors, smell sensor, electronic nose. So, and I thought, wow, it's new. I wanted to go a bit away from the pharma application, so there could be other application. And so going back to Grenoble, I discussed around on the CEA campus, and there was actually a team working on those type of biosensor that could be applied to the analysis of odors. It was original because electronic nose are not original. They have been on for at least 30 years. But if you don't know them so well, if you don't have one in your fridge, if you don't have one in your car, it's because they have been failing to be compatible with consumer application. Analyzing chemical volatile compounds, trying to mimic the chemical sense of olfaction is unfortunately not that easy. And it takes indeed new ideas, new technologies. And so combining biosensor, small miniaturized optic sensor, electronic, software development, understanding database is what it takes eventually to solve this equation. So we did this. I was lucky enough to be able to self-fund the first 2 years of development, which were very risky because no one would even bet on this technology at the time. So yes, funded it with the help of government, but no investor at the time for 2 years, and have sufficient results, preparing some first prototypes to show that it works. Okay, it works. And so at the time, I got the chance to meet investors, and we raised a few million euros. And I could feel that those investors were not typical VC, right? There was always a quite strong industrial background, and one of them actually was a Japanese investor, represented by their US team and with some English guys, right? Because when you're a young startup, to go directly to Japan is not that easy. But I could also understand that there was traction about this technology that was going to be quite global. So we continued with this, expanded the team. I asked one of the co-founders, Sam Guillaume, to help me to manage the company, and especially to take care of the investment, because I wanted on this experience to be closer to the technical development. Again, the challenge is to make it work. It's up to now, the previous generation had been failures. So it's an untypical startup in the sense that we cannot say the technology is working, we just have to commercialize it. I think it's the opposite. There is very big commercial traction, but quite challenging technology. It's a bit like science fiction. Like there are many science fiction topics where there would be a huge market, like teleportation or whatever. But of course, the technology doesn't exist. So it's more simple to analyze an odor than to do teleportation, but still, you have to adapt the organization, the communication, and the development. And what is important is to make it work. So the best way to make it work is to present these prototypes and to actually start partnership with industrial group, which we did. And quite a few of them said that they were interested to finance our development. So in 2019, 2020, we were already working with 3 companies who became our investor, a few more that I cannot name. So one in the US called IFF, so International Flavor and Fragrance. It's a big company working for Chanel, for to develop perfume, Procter & Gamble, and of course some food. So those are experts in the field of odor analysis because it's their main business. They are developing flavor and fragrances. And we were also attracted and contacted by Korean company. So 2 of them, Hyundai and Samsung, decided to invest in our company. Globally, we have been raising 70 million euros, so which is quite good and enough in those fields which are not very regulated, right? So we don't have It's not like biotech where you have to finance clinical trials. Here we just have to finance the proof of concept and the industrialization. It is still a silicon-based technology, right? And so we need to have access to a silicon fab. So this is quite expensive, but the rest is okay. The biosensor part is not very expensive, but still improve it, miniaturize it, improve the efficiency to be compatible with consumer application. As you can imagine, this is what Hyundai and Samsung are expecting from us, to develop a sensor that will help to predict, avoid food spoilage in the fridge, to predict the cooking state in the oven. Maybe there are other applications. There are applications in our field for health, without getting into too much details, but it is known that some dogs can predict cancer, some dogs can even detect COVID. So, so it can be very useful. I brought a small product, small prototype, to actually have this in hand, connected to your smartphone or to a computer, whatever, or being autonomous, to be able to recognize and analyze the smell. So in the automotive industry, it's a bit different. It's related to a new trend where eventually related to car sharing, to autonomous cars, where they want to avoid using camera to follow what's happening in the car. So they are using other sensor and smell sensing. So it's not for very good reason, right? We imagine that this is related to the misusage of cars. So bad smell detection is definitely one application. So I can tell you that personally I have a lot of fun developing this company and working on this technology, those different applications, and also feeling very lucky to be here in Korea. So my mission is a short mission. It's a 2.5 months mission, because we could not come on a monthly basis or 3 monthly basis like before. I decided to come here and actually to set up our Asian operation. It's going to be a small team, so I'm actually recruiting at least one field application engineer. So there is a position open at Aryballe if you know people are interested, or eventually business developer, so that I can go back to France and hopefully come back regularly next year to help them to sign contracts, to develop products for at least for our main customers, but also for Japan, because we have quite a few contacts in Japan where there is a lot to do. Thank you very much.
So, actually, you should stay, because we are going to continue 5 more minutes for every presenter. So 10 minutes and then 5 minutes of Q&A. And we give priority to June participants. There is a first question. It's from Ludovic Rivière. So if Ludovic understood well, you went back to France to help French startups and provide knowledge and experience. When and where was it? What were your impression of the possibility between those startups and Korean ones at that time? And what is your vision? What is your vision of 21 and 22 between our 2 countries? Yeah, it's not.
It's not an easy question. Crystal ball, you say, right? La boule de cristal. So, well, I'm supposed to have some knowledge about epidemiology and virus development, vaccination. So, what I can tell to people who are not in Korea here is that, or to people who did not realize what's happening in France, is that with the same rules, the situation is totally different, right? So there are countries who apply rules and countries who do not apply the rules, and then the situation is very different. So indeed, you cannot hardly realize here that there is an epidemic. I don't think there is no epidemic in Korea. Of course, we wear masks, but apart from that, life, I guess, is quite normal. So it's very interesting, because in France, unfortunately, we have not been able to anticipate the second wave. So I guess it's more at the international level that so commuting is going to remain difficult at least for 6 months. My bet is that the vaccine will come quite soon. Will not be perfect, but sufficiently efficient to go back to something normal. I hope that people who are working between different countries will get quite easy access to the vaccine. And that's my personal hope. I'm not sure it will be that easy because we may not be priority. And then for my Korean experience, it's quite new, so maybe I was not very clear. So I came once, maybe 6-7 times between 2019 and 2020, just for 1 week each time. So my first weekend I spent 2 weeks ago here after 2 weeks quarantine. Okay, but it was very nice, and the country is great. Very rich country, you can see it. Very so people are doing sport on weekend, and so it's I think it's very different on weekend and weeks. So for me, it's very nice. And I have I did a few interviews. It's very important. It's my main mission to hire people here. And so I met very interesting persons. Of course, the communication issue, because unfortunately I do not speak Korean, my bad. But I met people who speak very good English, and I think we do this job to translate, not only at the language level. Of course, in our case, there is a transfer of technology, right? So this is important, but there is also cultural questions, and I feel quite confident that it will work.
Thank you. In the room, anyone want to ask question? Because we are
Maybe
1 minute.
No.
No. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Company is Miraxess.
Okay.
Yanis. Should I pronounce your S?
Miraxess.
Miraxess. And your name, Yanis?
Yes. This one?
Okay.
Can I work? Yeah. You did right here. Hi everyone. My name is Yanis. I'm CEO, co-founder of a company called Miraxess. It's a company I have co-founded in 2015 with one ambition, which is to bring mobile convergence on the market. And for the PowerPoint, you can just okay, thanks. All right, cool. So I was telling you about mobile convergence. It's considering the smartphone as not only a simple phone, but an entire computer. And based on that, you can pretty much do everything you want and replace our regular PC. So we had the chance that in 2017, a small company called Samsung created a compatible feature with our products, which is called Samsung DeX, stands for desktop experience. And so based on their phone, they created this new desktop interface where you can work on it, you can entertain on it. And like I said, our company was created in 2015, and we were already working on a product called MirrorBook. MirrorBook is a passive terminal, passive laptop, you can say it, which transforms your smartphone into a laptop physically using Samsung DeX. And so by changing the form factor of the smartphone, you pretty much open all the boundaries to new things, new capability of the phone. You can now work on your PowerPoint, you can work on your emails, you can watch your Netflix series, you can pretty much do anything you want. And so our product is here. I use it every day for work. I came to Korea for 3 months in a program called K Startup, and I didn't bring any PC, only my phone, which is my PC, and my MirrorBook, which is my passive terminal. MirrorBook is a 13-inch display laptop with 5 to 7 hours of battery, 1.3 kilo, and it's 349 euros. I don't know the Korean price yet. And so the main advantages of the Mirror Book is for enterprises and governments. So by replacing an entire fleet of laptops in a company by Mirror Book and Samsung phones, the company can save up to 70% of their TCO, their IT budget. It's a lot, 70%. So why? Well, first, because you have one device to secure, one device to maintain, one device to update. It's the phone. The Mirror Book is passive, there's nothing in it. So if I unplug my phone, someone else can use it, no data will be on it. So it's a very secure solution. Second, because it's very easy to manage. The IT department will have to just use an MDM, mobile management service, to manage only the phone. The Mirror Book will stay as it is. And it's not a threat if it's lost because there's nothing in it. And third, because the user, so the employee will have only one environment to work on. It's Android or Windows. So there's no incompatibility and issues or virus. And so the IT department will have around 20 to 30% of demand less for the IT support. So then the Mirror Book has other advantages, like the reduced environment costs. If we globalize the solution, we consider that the Mirror Book has 40% of component less compared to a MacBook. Well, 40% at a global scale, that's a lot, and we can save rare earth and silicium and a lot of, so there's a green impact if we manage to globalize that. And for the user, it's also more mobility. What is more mobile than a mobile? So that's why our strategy is to focus on B2B, on enterprises, governments. Ultra mobility is the phone, mobility is the Mirror Book form factor, and at the office you can use your phone. It's a great solution for remote workers because every employee has a phone, so the company will just need to provide one Mirror Book each, and they can work. And today we work with police forces. So for example, the UK police forces in West Midlands, they use Mirror Book. You can see the pictures. But we have also interest from the bank, insurance services sector, the defense, the energy sector, the postal service, so many major companies. And the reason is simplicity, economy, and green impacts. So I don't want to tell any more for my presentation, but I'm open to your question now, if you have any. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
First of all, thank you so much for giving the explanation. I much appreciate it. So you mentioned about green impact.
Yeah.
So as you have tried to start your own business, I'm curious what do you think about Korea's current regulations, which is related to environment?
Well, so far from what I've noticed, from what I've seen in Korea, there's not so much green conscious like we do have in Europe, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's as it is. There's packaging, plastic everywhere, and it's quite shocking when you come from a country where they just ban the straws, for example. But yeah, I think Korea is turning now to a point where they want to be greener and use a sustainable solution in the future. So yeah, I definitely see our product involved in this. Yeah.
Korea government, I heard that they also initiated New Deal policy, which includes financial supports to eco-friendly companies. So if you have heard about those regulations, I'm also curious whether it can benefit in a practical way.
Well, if it's open to international companies and not only Korean companies, then yeah, I guess we can definitely benefit from that. But then if it's only for Korean companies, and I guess it's the case because Korea is a very protectionist country, then Miraxess will create a Korean entity here, and will I hope access these new opportunities.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Any other question? Yeah.
Just one technical question because I like your product. But I was thinking if I got my own company, that would be very, very, very nice to have those, not to have one phone and one computer. But the screen for me is really the problem. It's a 13 inches. Can we plug like an external monitor to have like two? Because I don't know if Dex allows that kind of stuff.
So you can plug a bigger monitor on the MirrorBook or directly on the phone. However, you cannot have, so you will have a mirroring. You will not have like an extended display because Android does not support that.
Yep.
So in the technical point of view, if you take a look at the computer, if you want an extended display on a fixed PC, then you need two video outputs, and the phone has only one. So yeah,
Okay, thank
it's
you.
not possible at the moment to have extended.
Answer the question. Yes, there is a question in the back.
Thank you so much. That was very innovative.
Thanks.
But I have a practical question actually. You know, like from the employee's perspective, why would I want to use my personal phone for my for the corporate use? I'm already like that's the point, right? I can use my phone as a laptop, and I can just use the MirrorBook as a monitor basically. So why would an employee want to destroy our work-life balance and use my personal phone as a laptop, like corporate laptop? Like
That's a good question.
It was part of your concern when you were
True. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, because I'm using my company is forcing me to use my personal phone to download the company messenger.
Yeah.
And actually, many people left the company just because of that. And
Really?
I'm just like thinking about the practical issues here. Have you thought about it?
So far, never, because our main customers are police forces. So I guess they separate personal life and professional life. But I do understand your question. Very good question, by the way. So on the Android smartphone now, if you consider only one device, you can separate a professional like storage and environment from the professional, and you can really divide your phone into two. This is in the case that you want to have one device. Otherwise, in many companies, they use two phones. So the employee has his own phone, personal phone, and a professional phone. So I guess in both cases, you will separate your personal life and professional life. And yeah, but I understand your concern about the private life. And does it answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm just thinking, if the company is going to buy me a new one anyways, then why do I need a MirrorBook? Why don't they just give me one laptop? I think in terms of the cost, it will be probably the same in the end. They have to buy like two devices for me, and I only have my monitor. So
not really, but there's a big trend called BYOD, bring your device, where the employee is supposed to bring his own device, like you were supposed to but the cost is the cost of Mirabook is very far from the cost of a regular laptop. And not only on acquisition. So like I said, the Mirabook is $349. A laptop is maybe $600 or euros. But you have to consider also all the long-term costs like security, maintenance, all the time that the IT department has to spend on a device. Let's say your device is broken, you have to change it, but they have to set up a new device and they spend hours to do so. Let's say you have a bug on your Windows PC, they have to investigate, and so this hourly costs is a lot. I think they evaluate like a device is like 1,000 euros per year in terms of long-term costs, which is a lot, and you don't have that. You save that by using Mirabook. For the IT department, it's interesting. For the employee, the goal is to have a similar experience. So yeah, I guess the company would need to provide a professional phone for it, like they would provide a professional laptop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have just one last question online. Do you plan to release a model with a touchscreen convertible into a tablet? It's pretty specific.
Well, I cannot tell much, but we have many plans to release new products, and this is definitely something we are investigating and considering for the future.
So, for example, talking about Chromebook and what Google is doing, did you see any major threats in this kind of convergence between the, obviously, like global OEMs developing their own, or adopting the different operational systems, mobile, fixed, and this technological giants moving into the operational system landscape and creating their own devices at very lower prices, which many companies across the world they are implementing in order to effectively decrease this POC you were mentioning. So how do you see this threat? How do you see this potential clash with Google or others, for instance?
So talking about the Chromebook, I don't see any threat on Chromebook because from what I know, it's only working on the US market. Google have tried with a lot of effort in Europe, and they just don't penetrate the market. People don't want Chromebook. I remember I was on a trade show and there was this guy from Google and he was trying to sell Chromebooks. And so he pitched me the Chromebook that I already know. I said, oh, that's great. And I said, I put the Mirabook on the table. I said, this is the ultimate thin clients. And then I explained him and he was like, oh, you're right. This is definitely thinner client than the Chromebook. And then he called his colleague because his colleague just said, just pitched him this idea before and said, this is exactly what you were thinking about. And so just to say that it's Chromebook are not working in Europe because it's a very specific environment, Chrome OS. But Mirabook and the phone, every employee has a phone. So they already used to work on Android environments. Plus, they can use a VDI, so virtual desktop infrastructure, which means that they can connect to a Windows PC in the cloud from the phone. So it's something they already use. And about other major companies that could release new products like this, I'm not really afraid because we target a very specific segment for now, which is B2B. And we already have secured partnerships and distribution channels. So we are already on the go. So I'm not really afraid of that. This is, again, something that is not patentable. So from all the companies that I've talked to, they don't want to go on that ground because it's very risky for them. And as a startup, we don't care, we take the risk. Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I have the difficult role of being the last one before the cocktail. Pleased to meet you all. Matthieu from France. I'm here to tell you a bit about Regulaxis, which is a biotech company that was founded in France. And I'm here with Raffaello. And as you will probably understand, as one of our French minister mentioned, we came here definitely not to make ceramics. We are really super excited. And this grand challenge that selected us is a true opportunity to really accelerate everything that we have been doing in the last 3 years. So it's sensitive. Okay. Do I need to point something?
Yeah, actually, I'm the one doing it. Just tell me, where do you want to go? I'm the one that
Go back to the second slide, even the first one. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so it's a biotech company, very classic business model. We're doing the R&D on behalf of Big Pharma, and we will out-license the product to Big Pharma whenever we will reach phase 2 clinical proof of the efficiency. So it's the first, we patented 86,000 peptides so far. So we have a vast portfolio of molecules, but there is one where we're putting all of our energy into is fighting osteoarthritis of the knee, which is $5.4 billion per year business. There's only symptomatic treatments available on the market. And in any case, any of the product that will go out of our pipeline will be for a high unmet medical need, where there is currently no treatment on the market. Because the mechanism of action is breakthrough, and so we can focus on this kind of disease. So the first candidate is creating an entire therapeutic class that doesn't exist. It's disease-modifying osteoarthritis drug. So the founder and CEO of the company is Claude Carrel here. He's a kind of Steve Jobs in designing chimeric peptides that do not exist in nature. And so we have our CSO, Christelle Matthieu, that joined the company. I'm here. We have a very solid business advisory board. And you have the R&D team that is here with Raffaello Paolini, who is even co-inventor of the Korean patent that we got published last year. I'll just mention that it's an international cooperation, scientific cooperation from day one of the company. And we already have like 9 key opinion leaders across Europe that are a member of our scientific board. So, company was incepted in 2013, but in fact, it is based on 22 years of research. We already have 4 patents that we fully own. We managed to get 1.5 billion Korean won of private investors, and we don't even have a VC yet, which I'm not saying that in 3 months it will still be valid, but because we got a huge support from the European Union through a program called Horizon 2020 to selection and accelerate what they call the Champions League of R&D across Europe. And they invested 2.9 billion Korean won, non-dilutive. And we are currently negotiating to get 12 million euros, and they will then acquire some shares of Regulaxis. So, very briefly, because we have been several times awarded of EU, but we got a second recognition beside Grand Startup Challenge regarding our Asian International Development Program, is the Seal of Excellence that we got in May 2020, validating all the work that we prepared. So not only the science and the innovation regarding the mechanism of action, but also the business model and our plans to expand in the US and in Asia. Very briefly, because I don't think that's a major interest, that like in osteoarthritis, you have 4 stages. This is just the basic X-ray of the knee. And so at stage scale 4, you don't have any more cartilage, you have nothing. And our mechanism of action is acting by stimulating the proliferation of chondrocyte cells at the surface of the bone. And they are responsible, those cells, to generate the cartilage. So if you don't have any chondrocytes left, there's no way that we can be efficient, but there's no way that any biotech company in the growth factor model can succeed. So for the Food and Drug Administrations, we will focus on KL3 stage because that's what they will ask. But our mechanism of action is in fact efficient as soon as KL2 and even KL1. So on the long term, we think we can get a huge growth relay and market development by having like kind of prevention, which will multiply the market. So osteoarthritis is like definitely organically increasing every year because of the aging population, especially valid in Japan, but it's also a huge awareness and concern here in Korea. I was really impressed last year. The incidence of obesity all across the world, and all the younger generation being passionate for extreme sports with a GoPro on the helmet, not realizing that they are destroying their cartilage way faster than the previous generation. So when we got the funds from Europe, the first thing that we did was to acquire market data to set up what would be our international development strategy. And that was full of surprises because any biotech company in Europe would, of course, like rush to do a marketing authorization in Europe and then go as fast as possible in the US because there's a bigger number of patients, because reimbursement price is 4.3 times higher than what you can get in Europe. But we were never, ever expecting that there would be such an existing market across Asia that would be mature and ready to be disrupted, and especially Japan. It's also because they have a genetic predisposal to catch AOA because of the shape of the legs that is like damaging the cartilage faster. And so when, of course, I was like last year in Japan again to investigate the potential of the Japanese clinical trials, I was also stopping here and did a meeting with like clinical research organization, which I do agree have a kind of reputation worldwide because you have a limited number of citizens, and for decades you have been very oriented in organizing multi-centric clinical trial where from Korea you can also cover Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and now with the recent development of the Chinese FDA, China. So this is the true motivation of Regulaxis Korea is really to benefit from this expertise, unique that you have in the Asian region. So a quick point of view about the patent situation. So we have a super solid patent situation because like the Korean patent has been published like last year in February. So the patent is valid until 2042. So we are kind of sexy for the big pharma. So this is exactly our peptide. It looks like this. And it's going to be inside an intraarticular syringe. And you just inject in the synovial cavity here the product. And this is how we like stimulate the proliferation of chondrocyte cells and their differentiation. And that is unique and patented. So we are the only company in the world having this mechanism of action. And it's IGF-1 regulatory pathway, mechanism of action pathway. So I will not go too far into that. But to help you understand, it's a kind of peptide, yes, but that is based on a sequence from human growth hormone and a somatostatin analog, which are two hormones that you have naturally inside the body. So in terms of safety, side effect profile, we have no toxicity at all, like you will see on the slide later. Another thing is that so every year there is a convention of key opinion leaders called ORC, where all the influential people regarding osteoarthritis gather. And we have been exhibiting every year our results in the big amphitheater. And we are the only biotech company with 3 preclinical proof of principle, whether on naturally aging model with the guinea pig, took us 1 year to do, and also the traumatic model, which mimics the typical ski accident where you ruptured your cruciate ligament. So we demonstrated that we are maintaining the cartilage thickness, we have a positive effect on the tissues constituting the knee joints, we diminish the severity of the lesion and the number of the lesions, and there's one thing that is also a key advantage, that's one of our key opinion, the leader that was working on a competitive product, clinical trial, is that we do not induce osteophytes. And other growth factors, they stimulate chondrocytes proliferation, but also bone cells proliferation at the surface of the bone. And these osteophytes are little peaks at the surface of the bone, and these create a lot of pain to the patient. So this is a major advantage. Next slide. Okay, so this is what I was mentioning, the RC. So we're exhibiting there every year. Due to COVID, we were invited, but the event was cancelled. Okay. I was stressing toxicity, and really it's up to a point that I've never seen that my entire career. We don't have any side effects at all. And the R&D team even did like 18 times the expected therapeutic dose without side effects. And we even used a supercomputer, it's called QSAR model, that is in the US, to do in silico prediction of the toxicity, and there's no toxicity for the active ingredient, related impurity from the manufacturing process, or even degradation impurities. So with the funds that we get, and that was a clear milestone on our side, we already industrialized the production of the active ingredient. So Raffaello here was responsible for making the product at that scale. I joined the company to repeat industrialization. So we have a manufacturing site inspected by Korean FDA twice already successfully, and we already have 3 batches GMP grade ready to be used in the first in-human trial. And we are storing that at -20 degrees, so the product is stable for 100 years. So we can prepare the clinical trial, everything is fully ready. And another thing, but that was like 2 years of work with tears of blood, was to raise the level of the purity in order to face PMDA and in Japan and Korean FDA high GMP expectations in terms of purity. And we can robustly manufacture at 99.0% purity. It's huge for a peptide. In Europe and in the US, if you have a purity level of 95, 97%, it's the maximum that they would ask. So we are fully operational for Japan and Korea. Okay, this is more a wrap-up of all the planning that we had, so it's not really important, but we are already creating the company, Regulaxis Korea. We were the last one out of the quarantine and the first one to create the company, so we have supported by big angels. We are inside the K-Startup Run Challenge, and we will create the company tomorrow or Monday latest. So, and it's gonna be juicy ale. So we are fully ready to attract investors, and we are beginning the process of transferring the national patent inside this company to bring some assets. And I will spare you the discussion about the clinical trials, but everything is there, and our plan for 2001 is to discuss with Korean FDA, get their approval and the go-no-go, then we will do a Series A. Accelerate. Okay. So just to finish up the story about, we've been looking for Korea since 2015, in fact, and with the French Chamber of Commerce in Industry as a start in 2015, and also Cotra. In 2017, I was here. We began the relationship with Connect in order to identify our clinical research organization partners. So we have a budget up to 2023 with the expenses on a monthly basis. So we are fully ready. And so our plan is not even like to ignite the Korean affiliate in 2001. It's already a reality. We are creating the company this week. And so this is our budget needs. So we have everything detailed. We know exactly how we're going to spend the money, with who. And so if you are an investor, feel free. We'll be operational within 1 week. If you are an accountant, we are recruiting an accountant. So you can also come to see us. And we will recruit people, so feel free to to come and stop by and present your profile. Thank you very much.
So yeah, we could feel how we were excited to come to Korea.
Well, it's a huge acceleration, like, so, yes.
So online there is any question? Because yeah, we were kind of over time, but actually next thing is networking, so I didn't sharply stop. But if there is any question for Matthieu, please. Otherwise, maybe we can get some question for all three. No? No. Yeah. You better say no. So no. So I think we will start networking. Yeah. Yeah. Here.
Just enjoy after second here. Yeah, so you have been prospecting many countries, you have been liaising with many different international partners, clients, distributors, and so on. So perhaps, because here is about startups, right, and technology in Korea, could you just explain what were your inspirations to come to Korea? Not to doing that in Japan, or not doing that. Of course, you are also in the way to do that as well. But why Korea is important for you? What is the message for other startups to follow like a success path?
Oh, okay, it's a very good question indeed. Well, we are expanding everywhere. So I was in January at JP Morgan, and I was signing the manufacturing contract in Pennsylvania to do exactly the same that we would do here, manufacture the finished product locally for the discussion with the FDA. So Korea, as I mentioned, has a unique expertise in making multi-center clinical trials that, like other countries, in my opinion, don't have, especially the Chinese. And this is why the Chinese are even buying Korean CROs like TigerMed to acquire GenCIS. And it's specifically because like the processes, the know-how to do multi-country is like, the reputation is true. The second is also maybe linked to our internal profile regarding public grants. We have been heavily funded by European Union, and that helped us a lot to, I would say, delay the entrance of venture capitalists. And we have really the perception that here you have, for example, the TIPS program, that is like a unique opportunity to be inside the perfect system for a startup. This is like, Korea is really oriented toward innovation, very keen about this, and especially in the biotech field. So it's a place we have to be. And there's a lot of chances to really accelerate the project here, more than like in the US, for example.
Great testimonial. So yeah, thank you for the question, Isabel. So how we start networking? Yeah.
How do you start networking? You get up, you
So all was preparing all our events. So yeah, I want to say big thanks also to Isabel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For coming, so we can just go directly on the networking session. You have a few stuff to eat, juice. I'm gonna do my best to get some beer downstairs coming up. If people want to help me,
Sure.
And yeah, feel free to enjoy the networking session. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merci.
Merci de l'invitation. Ça a été le témoignage.